Good afternoon, buenas tardes. My name is Jose Casas. I'm the assistant professor of Miami Culinary Institute. Today we have a great program for you, Taste of Santo Domingo. And without any further ado, I want to introduce to you Isabel Martinez. She's right next to me. She's been collaborating very much in the putting this whole event together. So thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos. Welcome to this culinary passage to the Dominican Republic. We're so happy to have you here enjoy the best of the Dominican Republic. This is an event put together by Miami-Dade College, Wilson Campus, on behalf of the Hispanic Heritage Committee. We have today, thanks to Jose Casals, our chef, Chef Miguel Roques, directly from Punta Cana, to enjoy a wonderful meal that you will remember the rest of your life. I can assure you of that. And we have also Miss Nelson from Brugal, the best ron dominicano. You will have the opportunity to enjoy it. Una vez más, muchas gracias por estar con nosotros. Miami-Dade College, el recinto Wilson, el Culinary Institute y el comité organizador de los eventos de la herencia hispana se complace en tenerlos a todos ustedes acá. Un recorrido por la cocina dominicana. Qué rico, qué sabor. Con Miguel Roques, y nuestro querido chef de la casa, José Casals. Miguel Roques representa lo mejor de la República Dominicana en el arte culinario. Viene, estudia en Estados Unidos y vuelve al terruño para llevar la cocina internacional, pero con el mejor toque, el toque de la cocina dominicana. Lo dejo con los expertos. Gracias.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cricket Nelson. I'm the brand ambassador for Brugal Rum from the Dominican Republic. I'm actually from Boston, but I don't know why they chose me, but I'm not complaining. I love my job. I get to come to events like this and help everybody enjoy rum, so what better job could I have? Is everybody here? Can I see a raise of hands? Who loves rum?
Yeah.
Who's not so sure?
They're shy.
That's okay. Don't be shy. So my job is to convert all of you to rum lovers. So I'm going to ask the same question at the end. In front of you, you're going to notice that you have some tasting set up. And there's a couple booklets covering the lower portion of the tasting mat. I'm going to ask that you leave those there because I don't want you cheating. I'm going to ask you to tell me what kind of flavors and aromas you get out of the rum first, and then we'll look at what kind of the company has decided is in there. And there's no wrong answer to this. As we start, before I jump into tasting, I wanted to, if you guys can pull out, I have some little handouts for you guys in front of you. I'm going to talk about the physiology of taste. I'm going to give you a little history, not too much history on the company because since this is a culinary presentation, I wanted to focus on the taste and aromas of rum and how we perceive taste and how that can affect what you get out of a rum when you take a sip of it. So this little diagram here, I've been told that kind of it's evolved. I chose this picture from the internet because I think it's the most approachable. There's some new science now that claims that you can see there's kind of some areas here. Sorry. There's some areas here in brown that show where on your palate you pick up specific flavor profiles. So there's sweet, salty, bitter, umami, and now actually they're saying that there's also receptors in your palate that pick up carbohydrate, and that's kind of new, so I'm not super educated on that, so I didn't include it, but maybe next time when they invite me back. So in order for you to taste things, the food molecules or the flavor molecules first have to dissolve in your mouth, and you have flavor receptors all over your tongue. All of your tongue can receive the flavors, but there's, I think, specific areas that are a little more sensitive to certain profiles. Another thing that really affects the way that you taste is your sense of smell. And that can come from memory as well, like a pleasurable moment. Maybe your grandmother made this amazing apple pie and you taste something and that triggers that memory of when you were a child and you had that apple pie. So with that in mind, all the way over here on my right, ladies, there's a number of little dishes that I have set up with some different ingredients in them. These are all ingredients that are found in the aroma and flavor of rum, and I'm going to ask that you start to pass those around before we start tasting. And what I'm going to do with this is I want to help trigger for you guys the flavors and aromas that you're going to find when we start to nose and taste the rum. So ladies, can you just start to, enjoy the aroma yourself and then pass it on? There's a lot of ingredients. I've got citrus, there's coconut, there's honey, chocolate, caramel. If anybody has any questions about it, feel free to ask. But as those are going around the room, we're going to jump in and start talking about the rum. So our rum is a dry style of rum. It's made in the Dominican Republic, and the company was founded in 1888, which is why our we have the 1888, which is kind of our signature. This seems to be everybody's favorite. I know it's mine, and we'll be tasting that tonight, but that's why we have it's called 1888, because the company was founded then. Our rum is, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm trying to cram an hour of presentation into 20 minutes. So our rum is distilled, like I said, in the Dominican Republic. It's double distilled to remove a lot of the alcohols, or what we call congeners, which, number one, whoever here has ever had a hangover?
Hangover?
Okay, well, we invite you to drink responsibly.
Yes.
However, I know that sometimes hangovers happen, and a lot of times that comes from the alcohols that are left in the process of distilling. We double distill ours so that we come with a clearer, finer spirit. Our rum comes off of the still at 95%, which is very clean. Let's go ahead and jump in as those dishes are rotating around the room, and we're going to start with the extra dry. The extra dry is aged for 2 to 5 years in American oak. We use the same cask management system as the Macallan Scotch. So what that means is that we're really picky about the barrels that we use. All of our sugarcane and the trees from which we make our casks are sustainably harvested and grown, and all of the sugarcane comes from the DR. Our rum is made from molasses, and then, like I said, double distilled to create a pure spirit, aged for 2 to 5 years in the extra dry, and then this one is triple filtered through a charcoal filtration system to remove the color and refine the flavor. This particular rum was designed specifically for people that like a drier style of spirit, so maybe you're a tequila or a vodka or a gin drinker. This rum will appeal to your palate. It's also, because it's really light and dry, it works really well for cocktails. So let's go ahead and nose the spirit. Now, when you're sampling spirits, you don't, unlike wine, you don't stick your nose all the way in. You want to hold it up, like kind of around the chin area is usually good. Everybody has a different depth perception there, but you want to just kind of swirl it around and nose the spirit. And the first thing you're gonna notice that it's very clear, right? Super clear. And then you're going to nose it. And can anybody tell me what they get when they nose it? And maybe some of these dishes will help spark some memories for you. Anybody? Vanilla, yes. And the vanilla is very characteristic of cask aging, of barrel aging. Anybody else? Citrus is another one, yes. This dry style has a lot of citrus and a little bit of coconut, which is very subtle. But you also get that on the palate when you take a sip. So now we're going to take a little sip, and when you're sampling rum, you want to take a small sip. Cheers. Salud. And you're going to let it kind of roll around your palate a little bit. And the reason that we do this twice, so you're going to come back and do it a second time. And the second time, you'll be able to pick up those flavors a little bit better, because the first thing that your tongue and your flavor perceptors are going to receive is the alcohol. So we want to get past that. So you're kind of seasoning your tongue, so to speak. So you're going to come back and raise your glass a second time and take another sip and let it linger on your tongue before you swallow. And then after you swallow, you want to keep your mouth open and breathe out through your mouth, and that's going to help you to pick up those flavors. So you see you have a very crisp, dry spirit. And I think on this one, on the flavor profile, I get a lot of citrus. Everybody else? Anybody? Citrus? Anybody get anything else? Maybe a little tiny bit of that coconut on the finish. Does anybody else get that? I do. Anyway, it's wonderful for making cocktails. My favorite cocktail with this rum is a handshaken daiquiri. I would love to come back and do some cocktail demos. Hopefully I'll be able to do that, because I think that's a wonderful cocktail. And that's a good base cocktail for you to learn, because from that you can build out and add extra ingredients and kind of become your own mixologist. Okay, next we're going to jump into the añejo rum. Now, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. A lot of people, I think particularly in Miami with the Latin contingency, everyone loves the aged spirits and the añejo. And the añejo and the extra dry are actually the same spirit. The difference between the two is that the extra dry is, again, triple filtered through charcoal filtration to refine the color. So this añejo, they go through charcoal filtration, and then you get the extra dry. So they're both very fine spirits. A lot of people have the misperception that if it's a white spirit, then it's not as good of quality, but this is actually the same quality. It's just a different profile because we've processed it differently. So anyway, let's jump into the añejo rum, and you're going to nose that. Someone want to shout out what they get? What do you smell? Does it remind you of anything that you had when you were a kid? Maybe your mom or your grandma made something? Chocolate? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else get vanilla? Vanilla on an aged spirit is especially with rum is the most common thing that people get.
Wood?
So what's that? Wood. Definitely wood. So the charcoal, it's an interesting thing with the charcoal filtration that actually takes out a lot of that wood tannin, but in the añejo it still comes out. And I think this is one of the things, a lot of people that are whiskey drinkers actually really enjoy our rum, and I think it's because of the barrel aging and the cask management system that we use, because a lot of the flavors that are found in whiskeys characteristics are also found in our rum. Our barrels are first fill. They're American oak, like I said, and we use Jack Daniel's Jim Beam and Heaven Hill barrels to age our rum. And it was really interesting for me, actually, when I was in the Dominican Republic, I got to taste the separate rums from each of the different barrels, and it was amazing to me how different they were. So they take all those three expressions and blend them together to make the añejo rum. So let's go ahead and take a sip. And remember, you're going to take 2 sips, right? You're going to visit it twice. And now on the palate, this is still dry. Does anybody get kind of a sweet profile from this? Yeah, a little bit sweet. So the interesting thing about this is again talking about the palate and your flavor receptors and your sense of smell and all of that. We don't add any sugar, coloring, or flavor to our rums. All the color comes from the barrel aging, and all of the flavor comes from the barrel aging. So although your perception comes that it's a little bit sweeter, that's actually from the barrel. So there's no extra sugar in there. But it does have kind of a sweet profile. And anybody else get a little bit of like caramel or honey from this? You taste the wood. You definitely taste the wood. That comes from the barrel aging, exactly. All right. Now, the next one that I'm going to share with you guys is the Extra Viejo, and I'm actually going to just pick that bottle up really quick. I don't usually include this in my sampling in Miami. However, since this is, in particular, a Dominican presentation, I wanted to share this with you because this is the Dominican Republic's favorite rum. Everybody drinks this down there. It's quite delicious, and this is aged up to 8 years. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and jump into tasting this, and you'll notice that this has a beautiful, rich amber color. And again, the darker the color, it's because it's aged longer in the barrel. And it's also going to have a richer flavor profile because of the contact that it gets with the wood. And for those of you who know a little bit about barrel aging, we use a pretty medium to well char, I would say, on our barrels. So what that does is it opens the pores of the wood and you get more flavor. So let's go ahead and nose that. And what do you guys get? This one, I think, for me, the first one, I like honey and dried fruit is what I get the most of. Some people get caramel or toffee. Let's go ahead and take a sip. And you'll notice that this has a little bit more mouthfeel or a palate coat, and you're going to notice the wood a lot more on this. Again, this is the Dominican Republic's favorite rum, so I thought it would be appropriate to share it with you. It's not as popular in this market. The softer profiles are a little bit more popular here. Okay, everybody, we're going to, and everybody gets a lot more of the wood in this one, right? The lingering kind of the wood tannins, that's kind of on the palate, and also the lingering finish. All right, finally, we're going to go with the 1888. And this happens to be my favorite in our profile. And this is what we like to call our whiskey lover's rum. Again, still dry, but it sees a lot more time in the barrel, and this gets 6 to 8 years in American oak, and then it sees an additional 2 to 4 years in first fill Spanish sherry cask. So those of you who have enjoyed sherry before are going to know that that's going to bring out a little bit of a different flavor profile from the other rums that don't see sherry. So let's go ahead and take a nose of this. And you're going to see, I get really beautiful like spices, a little chocolate. Anybody else? Coffee, you said? Coffee, yep. That's on the money. All right, let's go ahead and take a sip. Oh, it's delicious. We should have had you a setup. Yeah. Would you like to share mine? Okay, so what does everybody taste when they're tasting the 1888? This is, I think, our crown jewel. I love this one. Do we have any old-fashioned drinkers in the house? Yeah? Mm-hmm. So I love this by itself, and that's the way that I drink it most of the time. But every once in a while, I do like to enjoy a cocktail, and I think an old-fashioned made with the 1888 is like out of this world. So yes. Encourage you next time you're in a bar to ask for one. So can anybody tell me what flavors do you get out of the 1888? Anybody? Oh, you guys are so quiet. Maybe I should have given you some coffee to start. Wake you guys up. Okay, so on this, again, the wood is more a stronger profile, but also dried fruit I get, toffee. I think it has a much rounder, richer flavor profile on the palate. It has a longer, lingering finish. It's really quite a beautiful expression. So on that note, because there's a little bit of a chocolate note in there, you'll notice, and I forgot to ask you to save this till last, in Miami we have a tradition to give kisses when we say hello and also when we say see you later. I never like to say goodbye, but see you later. So I'm going to let you guys end with a little kiss of chocolate to enjoy with your 1888. And feel free to set your expressions aside and enjoy them along with the chef's wonderful food that you're going to be tasting this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to coming back and doing some more trainings with you guys. Thanks for having me. Chef,
thank you.
On to you.
Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Miami Culinary Institute at Miami-Dade College. For more information about the schools and the culinarium program, please visit www.miamidadeculinary.com or call 305-237-3276.